Samsung has a phone in every price point from above $1,000 down to like $100. They remain a force in terms of high-end phones with their foldables, flips, and even their flagship phones. They are giving other brands a run for their money. The budget and entry-level segment is filled with competition as there are phones from Xiaomi, Infinix, Tecno, and even Realme that might be better than the Samsung Galaxy A05. In this video, we are going to be talking about everything there is to know about the Samsung Galaxy A05 and if it's worth buying. Hello there, I'm Audu, and on this channel, we talk about everything smartphones. If this is your first time here, then I highly appreciate it if you subscribe. And if you are someone that is constantly coming back to the channel, then I appreciate you for being part of the community. The Samsung Galaxy A05 is the base model of the A series for 2024, and it seems to be getting quite some hype. Depending on where you are watching from, you might pay below or slightly above $100 to buy the phone. If you are in Nigeria, then you are going to pay around 90 to 95,000 naira, depending on where you are buying it for the base model. I have the black color option with me, and while on camera it looks like the phone has a matte plastic finish. The reality is that you are getting a phone with a glossy plastic finish which is prone to fingerprint stains. With just a glance, you can tell that it's a Samsung phone, and it's increasingly becoming difficult to differentiate between the more expensive Samsung phones and the affordable ones. All the Samsung phones look the same, and until you hold them in your hand, you won't be able to separate them with just a glance. In terms of design, I'm going to say that there are some bits of refinements coming from the Galaxy A04 that was released last year. The Samsung Galaxy A05 certainly looks better. There are two cameras at the back of the phone, a primary 50 megapixel camera and a second 2 megapixel camera. There are some concerning features about the camera, and I would love you to stick to the end to see what I'm talking about. It has a single down-firing speaker that sounds decent. Maybe only the Tecno Spark 20 might have a better sound quality around the same price because it has two speakers. Let me know if you want a comparison video between the Tecno Spark 20 and the Samsung Galaxy A05. I might also compare this phone with the Redmi 13C depending on the comments I get. It charges through a USB-C port, and there is also a headphone jack as expected on a phone around this price. What is not expected is that it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner. You only get the unlock key on the right side, and the volume keys are slightly above the unlock key. I don't think there isn't any phone that is competing with the Samsung Galaxy A05 right now that doesn't have a fingerprint scanner. The frame of the phone is made of plastic, and it is also prone to fingerprint stains. Overall, the phone is really slippery, and if you get this phone, it's advisable that you get a case immediately. The phone has fallen at least 4 times since I started using it. I'm impressed by how the Samsung Galaxy A05 looks different when compared to the myriad of phones out there. The build quality is also very solid. Flipping up front, we have a 6.7-inch PLS LCD display with a 720p resolution and 60Hz refresh rate. I wonder why Samsung compromised on the refresh rate on this display, because all the competing phones out there have at least a 90Hz refresh rate. The average consumer out there might not care that this display has a 60Hz refresh rate because they won't even notice. But for someone like me, I would have preferred getting at least 90Hz refresh rate on this display. Well, is the display bad? No, it is responsive to touch and it is bright enough. Colors also pop on the screen just as expected on a budget Android phone. The other issue is the display style. We have what Samsung calls the Infinity U cutout, and it looks dated. I appreciate the punch hole cutout on the Tecno Spark 20, and I feel it should be the standard even on budget phones at this price. The 6.7-inch size of the display might also make it difficult for one-hand usage depending on the size of your hand. While the display is decent, I feel having a punch hole and a high refresh rate on the display would have made it even easier to recommend. Software is one aspect where the Samsung Galaxy A05 has an edge at least. It is running on Android 13 based on One UI 5.1 Core Edition. What the core simply means is that you are going to miss out on some features of the One UI. You won't be getting a secure folder, edge panels, and knock security, among other features of the One UI. If you don't really know about the features of the One UI, you might not even notice that they are not there. Another thing I love about the One UI 5.1 is the wallpaper theming, which isn't available on other competing phones. You can match the color of app icons with your wallpaper on the phone. You are also guaranteed to get at least 2 software updates on the Samsung Galaxy A05. Android 14 is going to be on the phone soon, and rest assured you are going to get Android 15 and maybe even beyond that. The problem is Samsung haven't made it clear how many years of software updates the Galaxy A05 is going to get, but I'm sure that it's going to get Android updates. Since you don't have a fingerprint scanner on the phone, Samsung is offering you face unlock feature, but I don't use it and I don't recommend it because it's less secure. However, it works just fine on the phone, but it is not fast enough. Another thing I was quick to test was split screen. You can open up 2 apps on the phone at the same time and it's going to work just fine. The Redmi 13C users were quick to acknowledge the lack of the feature on their phone, and I even got questions in my review whether it's available on the phone. Unfortunately, it's not. Well, the feature is available on the Galaxy A05. In terms of software, everything feels typical of a Samsung phone and the experience is smooth. The phone is powered by the MediaTek Helio G85, which is the same chipset that is found on the closest phone it is competing with. I have been impressed with multitasking and gaming so far, and you also need to know that this is by no way a gaming phone. You are going to get 4GB RAM and 64GB storage space with the base model, and you're going to have to pay a little bit more if you want to get the 4GB RAM and 128GB storage version. There is a version with 6GB RAM and 128GB storage space, but I couldn't find it anywhere in Nigeria. I know most people are going to be concerned. 64GB storage space is quite small by 2024 standard, and the Redmi 13C is offering you 6GB RAM and 128GB storage space if you buy the base model, which is around the same price. As far as performance is concerned, the phone performs okay, nothing overboard, just as expected. The Samsung Galaxy A05 has a 50 megapixel camera, and there's also a second 2 megapixel camera for depth sensing at the back. Up front, we have an 8 megapixel selfie camera, and on paper, it looks like that is the only improvement coming from the Samsung Galaxy A04 that also had the same camera configuration, unless for the 5 megapixel selfie camera. Before we start talking about pictures from the camera of the Galaxy A05, there are some noticeable shutter lags when you are trying to take picture with the shutter button in the camera app. You're also going to see that it struggles when you try to switch between the different modes in the camera app. The images you get from the phone are decent when you factor in the price. However, if you want to get the best out of taking pictures with the camera of the phone, you need to remain still while taking the pictures. There are a lot of phones out there that once you just click the shutter button, you get a decent picture. Well, not with this phone. You also need to be in an area with good lighting if you want to get decent images like what is showing on your screen. The phone has portrait mode and is decent, but there are a lot of inconsistencies in terms of results. The selfie camera is average at best, and there are a lot of times where HDR is typically off even when snapping portrait pictures. It can record 1080p videos at 60 or 30 frames per second, but there isn't any form of stability. It has a 5000 mAh battery, and the phone also supports 25W fast charging, which is very impressive. I don't think there is any phone within its price range that supports as much as 25W fast charging. The Redmi 13C supports, I think, 18W charging, and the Tecno Spark 20 comes in at around 15W fast charging. The only problem here is that you have to buy the 25W fast charger separately, thereby adding to the overall cost of the phone, because Samsung is not giving you a charger in the box when you buy the phone. Overall, the battery life is superb and it can last a whole day on a single charge. Finally, is the phone worth buying? There is a bit of a problem easily recommending the phone, even though it's not bad. The lack of a fingerprint scanner on a phone in 2024 and lack of high refresh rate might be a deal breaker to a lot of people. On the other hand, you're getting an amazing software experience and guaranteed software update, which is rare at this price point. What else do you want to know about the Samsung Galaxy A05s? Let me know in the comment, and also click the video showing on your screen right now to see the comparison between the Tecno Spark 20 and Redmi 13C. I'll see you in my next video.